My dad is kind, funny, sporty, and yeah, really nice.
I always use the duck on the pond analogy when talking about hidden disabilities. So you see a duck swimming on the pond and it sort of effortlessly gliding across the water, but underneath the water its legs are paddling furiously to sort of just make it swim.
What I understand about MS is that it kind of ruins your balance, stops you from running, gets you a bit dizzy, and yeah, that's why I think how MS affects people.
I'm James, I'm an AI and Insight Product Manager at Sky, and I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis when I was 26. My first experience after diagnosis was a meeting with Dr. Malik. He explained what MS was, what it could affect.
So James, one of the symptoms that you've had for a long time is to do with the eye movement problem, with the right and the left eye not quite moving correctly. And so this is the part of the brain that controls, if you like, or coordinates the movement of your eye, yoking them together. And what you can see here is this white patch right there, which is in a part of the brain called the pons. This is looking at the brain from the side. So you can imagine you've got the eyeball there. Basically looks a bit weird, but that's the eyeball. That's your teeth there. That's your nose. And then that same lesion I'm going to show you is right there. I'm just going to blow it up a bit. You can see there that all the rest of the brain is that dark grey colour, and then you've got this white area here. And that is exactly the part of the brain that controls the eye movements in the horizontal direction. So that is why you've got that particular symptom. I'm Dr. Omar Malik. I'm a consultant neurologist with a special interest in inflammatory diseases of the nervous system. Multiple sclerosis is a very difficult concept and a condition to explain because people often confuse it with other types of neurological conditions, particularly things like motor neuron disease and things like that. But it is distinctively different. So typically multiple sclerosis happens in younger people in their third and fourth decades of life. So right in the peak, post-university, it comes very often out of the blue. It can affect any part of the nervous system, from the brain to the eyes to the spinal cord. So it can be very frightening.
Looking back to when I was diagnosed, that fear of the unknown, would I end up in a wheelchair? Would I lose my kind of independence?
The first thing that normally happens is a patient starts to get a symptom, which they don't really understand, and then that symptom evolves over a few days and weeks. And the reason it evolved the way that it does is because in multiple sclerosis, the body's immune system starts to target a specific cell type in the brain and the spinal cord, which causes damage to the insulation around nerve fibers, which basically means that these nerve fibers are not so efficient at conducting electrical impulses. And so by that slowing down of conduction or electrical activity, it leads to a neurological deficit or lack of function.
I have my treatment once a month. Tysabri stops relapses in MS. So a relapse is where a nerve ending in your brain is affected and it affects a part of your body, like walking or swallowing or something like that.
The treatment in my time has evolved beyond all recognition, really, because when I started in the early 1990s, there was almost a reluctance to diagnose multiple sclerosis because there were no treatment. But the more recent treatments that have evolved, probably since about 2008, 2009 onwards, have had a substantial impact on MS, not just in terms of reducing the attacks and the relapses by more than 65, 70, sometimes even 80%, but also impacting on making sure that the patient doesn't get the progressive form of MS, which can be much the most debilitating and most obviously frightening.
So we met in our at Charing Cross Hospital
Yep.
in our treatment sessions, our Thai Sabri group. How long have you met?
It's before Brexit. Brexit's 10-year anniversary, so it's 12 years,
12
something
years,
like that, 12 years ago.
Yeah. Through my treatment group, I've met loads of great people who are experiencing sort of different symptoms from time to time. So everyone's MS is different. But I find it really beneficial to be able to talk to friends who are going through the same thing as you are, and sort of learning from those shared experiences.
Each of us have a different level of what we would perceive to be our, I don't know, the vertical limit, if you like, how far you can go, how far you can fall. Some people, I know some people who can walk a couple of K, and they can do that without an aid.
I walk for 20 minutes and then my legs stop working. So my brain's not telling my legs to kind of move in the right direction. But with everyone, that's different.
I use a stick, and I don't use a stick because my legs don't work necessarily. I use a stick because the world moves funny for me. I have a constant sense of vertigo, and the more tired I become, not so much the tunnel vision, it's the sway of having sea legs or something along those lines. That's how the fatigue hits me, just how it moves. And I try not to move in rush hour. I never go anywhere in rush hour. The sea of people moving confuses me. I feel lost in the moment. I feel vulnerable. I feel uncomfortable. I put my arm out to touch a wall. The stick is the sense that nothing is moving on the stick. So when I plant it on the ground, what is happening in my head is just in my head. This is the sense of solid terra firma, if you like.
Do you have the MS hug as well?
The MS what?
Hug, the band around the chest. Have you never heard of this?
I've not heard of this. This is new to me.
It's basically your intercostal muscles between your ribs start spasming, because I think your brain is sending sort of signals when it shouldn't be to those muscles. So effectively, it makes you feel like you're having a heart attack.
I get the leg. My
right.
My leg spasms.
Yeah.
So I get the leg flick.
Yeah.
So when we go on days out, I think it affects him because sometimes he needs to take a sit down on a bench nearby when we're walking.
I'm constantly sort of planning, if we're going out for the day, I'll have to plan how long we're sort of walking, because if it's longer than 10 or 20 minutes, I'll sort of need to sort of, sit down, or maybe we'll get the car somewhere. Here.
My favourite thing to do with my dad is play table tennis with him.
My favourite thing to do with my dad is do lots of sports like paddle and golf.
The biggest family activity that I am limited in terms of is playing football.
We usually play football like maybe 2 times per week or something like that for about 5 or 10 minutes.
So Stan wants to play football 24/7, and I just have to say to him after 10 minutes of playing football, I need to sit down. And whilst that's frustrating from my point of view, that he kind of understands, and that's good.
I think if my dad didn't have MS, I think I'd still be better at football than him, because top corner, no, he can't do that.
Because my MS is a hidden disability, I don't want it to define who I am at work. So a lot of my colleagues at work don't even know that I've got that disability. So the way that Sky offers me implicit support rather than explicit is really important to me. So it could be that when I'm having a bad week, I just say to my manager, oh, I'd like to work at home for another day. Or it could be that, some of my colleagues that know take the lift with me to a meeting rather than going on the stairs. It could be just a casual conversation with with colleagues, you know, that sort of know I've got MS as well. So yeah, it's that sort of implicit support that's really important to me. I'm sort of more positive because of my MS. So because you're aware of the things that you can no longer do, you're grateful for the things that you still can do. It's almost like a positive outlook on life. Despite having a hidden disability, there are so many people out there that are going to help you along the way in terms of that journey.
I've been involved in some of the research where we use something called a bone marrow stem cell transplant to try and, if you like, reboot the immune system. So if you can imagine, the immune system goes a bit awry, if you like, basically, and all we're trying to do is to deal with those cells that have gone awry. But instead of dealing with that, we now think about completely rebooting or resetting the immune system by getting rid of all the cells in the immune system and then rebooting them with the patient's own primordial stem cells. So in other words, we take their immune system to when they were naive or pre the MS, and when the immune system then comes back, it's much less likely not to have MS in its sort of path. So we've almost got to the point where there may be a potential for cure for MS, which is very heartening.
If I'm giving advice to someone newly diagnosed with MS or a hidden disability, the first thing I would say is don't panic. The support networks are there to help you live your life with sort of minimal disruption. So whether that's the amazing healthcare professionals or treatments in our NHS, or understanding friends or family, or accommodating workplaces. Yes, it's going to be a bit of extra work behind the scenes, but you're going to be able to live your life with minimal disruption because of that.